As in, I don't think the thing was to tell people that I'm paying money for this, but it's to tell people that we are getting objective third parties to help us vet candidates now, which is actually something that they really probably should have done before, the last round.
Or maybe even if they did the last round, just making it known that, we are getting third parties to help us. So even if somebody fucks up,
can blame the third party.
you can blame the third party. It's like what Zuckerberg did with the third party fact checkers.
Exactly, yeah. So it's the new year, which means birthdays, anniversaries, and celebrations are around the corner. What are you planning for your loved ones? Why not surprise them with something truly unique? A personal podcast that tells their life story. Here's how it works. Order your Folklory and tell us who you'd like us to interview. Our expert interviewer will have a 30-minute remote interview with them. In just a week, you'll receive a studio-quality podcast capturing their stories, perfect to cherish for generations. If you want to make it even more special, get our limited edition retro-style Bluetooth speaker preloaded with a podcast, so it's ready to play as soon as you receive it. Order now at folklory.com. If you have questions, you can reach out to us on WhatsApp. Links are all in the show notes. And now, on to the podcast.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Yala, your thrice weekly podcast where we talk about the hottest news with a touch of what, Terrence?
Good old humor.
Good old humor, man.
Yeah.
How was your weekend, man?
I felt misled. I was thinking that there was going to be like fantastic weather because of monsoon surge that was, they warned us ahead of time.
Yeah.
And now it was whimpers, yeah. It wasn't a surge at all. Yeah, it was like trickling.
I mean, there was some periods of somewhat heavy rainfall.
But it was hot in between the periods of rain. So I never felt like, that feeling like 1 or 2 weeks ago when it was like really cold and like, even the floor felt cold and I wore jackets out and all that. Didn't get that at all. Yeah.
See lah, Terrence. 5 years ago, we didn't even used to have like winters like this. Okay, maybe 10 years ago.
We had.
10 years ago. 10 years ago. So now you have one weekend. The next weekend not so cold already, you're not happy.
Yeah.
So that means, isn't that destructive in the sense that your bar has been raised so that something that would have otherwise been a positive outcome is now negative?
Correct lah. And that's called adaptation, right? We adapt to the new reality of climate change.
But adaptation in a detrimental way lah, because now you already raised the bar so high, and then nothing will ever compare again. It's all downhill from there, no?
Correct. Yeah. But that's human nature. We can't help it. You can't go backwards, right? Remember?
True, but you can also try to appreciate this past weekend.
Okay, that was fine. It was just that I think I mentioned in the last one, I was a little bit under the weather. So I really for almost like one half of the weekend, I was just at home lying around, not doing much. But it wasn't that kind of comfortable lying around. It was like, it's hot and things like that.
I thought, but if it's cold, then, if you want to be under the cold weather, warmer weather would be better. Right?
No. Yeah, I'm generally, I think I'm a bit more like a polar bear in the tropics.
I see.
Kind of feel, yeah.
And that's how you recover from being exposed to too much cold also.
Exactly.
By being in the cold.
Yeah, exactly.
I see.
Your body temperature needs to be like at a comfortable level.
I mean, even today, like when we were getting a drink outside, and I know you said you were under the weather, so I thought you were going to get a hot drink. And you said, no, you want pink.
Yeah.
Pink.
Cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
So it helped.
It brings the body temperature down.
I see.
Maybe because everything's so heated these days. Now we got a new president in the US coming.
Not yet. Soon.
About to get started again. Reinstated from
the ceasefire. Apparently started already.
A lot of very heated things going on.
I mean, talk about like starting day one of his new job. Right.
Who are you talking about?
Trump.
Oh, what about?
I mean, he's going to be inaugurated. Like the weekend before he's inaugurated, there's so much happening. But I guess as president, that's par for the course.
And whether it's really his doing.
He's claiming credit. I mean, before this, we were watching fucking
the village people performing YMCA at Trump's party.
The actual village people.
And then Trump doing the infamous Trump dance.
Trump dance.
Wow, amazing. This is like, we're really living in a meme world now.
Meme world.
Like... What's that show on HBO that's about alternate...
The Boys.
No. Alternate reality.
Black Mirror.
No. The one... Westworld.
Westworld.
Yeah. Ours is meme world now, right?
Meme world. Yeah. I mean, Trump launched a meme coin. That is now like 50 billion in capitalization.
And has pulled up like the price of a certain cryptocurrency. Solana, I think, has
everything. Melania also has issued her own coin. And this is like weeks after the whole Haktua coin, meme coin controversy.
Yeah.
Donald Trump meme coin, just the Trump coin lah. Coin.
Yeah. People are saying like, are we like, basically in the human history, or at least US history, is the average American IQ at its lowest right now lah. That's what some people are asking lah.
But isn't that a bit patronizing?
It is, but I mean that's what people are asking, right?
Yeah.
Based on what's everything that's happening.
Yeah, because I mean, for his Trump coin, I mean, part of the population really benefited because I think it was just like on Saturday it was launched.
Yeah.
It was $7 and then it peaked up to $75, $74. So yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
So I mean, but for you, how was your weekend? Like, were you following all of these things, or were you mired in like dadhood and doing all your?
I mean,
stuff?
right now still mired in dadhood. Also because I mean, my wife has gone back to work already, right? So weekends are a time where she's like, okay, we can spend time with the kid.
And she's got a real job, not like you and I.
Got a real job.
She's got a real job.
You cannot say this. Dude,
there's both of us. Both
of us. No, and like the reality is, I mean, not her lah, but like in the wider family and all, everybody thinks like by being your own boss, right?
Yeah.
Your schedule is damn flexible.
Yes.
Okay, there's a bit of flexibility, but I think you have to work even more. Do you find that? And like I think
it weighs on your mind a lot more for sure.
Yeah.
You can't switch off 100%. And not say even 100%. You can barely even switch off. You always have to kind of be on.
Yeah. But I mean, like, she has a real job.
Yeah. That requires actual hours.
Same way your wife also.
Same. My wife has a real job.
We
She's
are
very successful.
the two people doing our hobby.
Pursuing our passion.
Yeah. Pursuing our passion.
Correct.
The passion life. Passion made possible.
But at the same time, I mean, like, it's also, it's a lifestyle, I would say. I think I had this discussion with a entrepreneur friend also that it's not something you just do as an alternative, right? It's just that there's this compelling thing in you that wants to create stuff, right? And you create a lifestyle around it that works, right? And it comes with a lot more different kinds of stressors that people, in corporate world, in regular jobs might not understand. But once you experience it, you're like, oh shit, this is why they all say that it's not as glamorous as it's made out to be in the media.
But even the first part of that sentence sounded damn selfish. I'm compelled to create,
Correct.
I have this thing.
I take that back. There is creativity even in like a 9 to 5 or corporate kind of job, right?
Yeah.
But the kind of creating you need to do is like you need to put food on the table kind of creative, right?
Yeah.
And that's the difficulty, finding a way to make what you create sustainable.
Yeah. So I mean, I think anyone who goes through this, or even if you're in a corporate job where you try to do something that is a bit like you try to spearhead this new project, you would face some issues, and some questions like, why the hell are you doing this? But yeah, at the core of it, both our partners have real jobs while we are pursuing our passion. Right, essentially. Yeah. That's the summary.
That means you are, in other words, you are a very active dad.
Because I have all the time in the world.
All the time in the world. Man.
All the time in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, weekend was like dad stuff.
No.
But I think, like now 5 months already, feels like, okay, like there's some semblance of like, okay, things settling a little bit.
I'll give you about 1 more month that you're allowed to complain about it openly. After 1 more month, I'll be like, dude, just suck it up and do it.
Hey, fuck you, you how many years already?
No, man, you hear me, I don't complain about it that much anymore.
I never complain. I'm saying, I have a smile on my face.
A smile on my face,
yeah. Smile on my face. You can hear the smile in my voice. I'm not complaining.
Yeah. No, but it does take a while to get in the swing of things and just like, one step forward.
Yeah.
Because I follow a lot of these dad kind of threads on Reddit, and a lot of times people come, yeah, and they're like, oh, I cannot take it. My kid is like 18 weeks and it's terrible. I don't know what I got myself into. And the advice is always just, dude, you're in the
thick of it,
in hell right now. Give it like, a few months and just take it one step at a time. Well, not even one step at a time, one task at a time, task at a time.
Yeah.
And then after 6 months, then you come back and tell me if you're suffering.
Yeah. And I mean, you might still be doing a lot of that stuff, but it's then become part of your life, which I'm starting to feel now. Even when we think of the day, how to think. But yeah, so.
And you sort of like start scrubbing your Instagram feed already. No more thirst traps in your Instagram too much. This is the part of the process, right? Especially after you have a daughter as well, right?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with seeing like an attractive person, a guy or girl on Instagram, if it comes up in the feed organically. It's lah.
Yeah. You can watch Singles Inferno, for example, while feeding the baby and all that, right?
Yeah, that's true. I mean, no lah. I don't know whether I will watch that feeding, but watch with my wife lah.
Oh yeah, correct.
It's quite fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
The joys of fatherhood. Yeah.
The joys of fatherhood. Yes. But I mean, interesting week. Lots of stuff happening.
Yeah.
Some recent speeches that were given also in Singapore, which we will dive into. But before that, what is the spiel, Terence?
If you're new to this platform, but welcome, because, this is probably one of the most hotly discussed and researched podcasts in Singapore, which we will come to later, I think. But yeah, if you're new here, please like, share, follow, subscribe if you like what you're listening to. And if you want to work with us,
drop us a message at ministryoffunny.com or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Yeah.
Cool, man. All right. So
spicy first topic also.
Spicy first topic.
Yeah.
Which, soon I think every week we're gonna see this space heat up. It is the space around the upcoming general election. And in the past week, there was something that the leader of the opposition, Pritam Singh, put out to the world. It was at a recent speech he gave at an annual forum.
Yeah.
Which, he shared the link to the speech on 17th January. The annual members forum happened on January 11th.
Yep.
And basically, he outlined a few things. Like he I think in general about what the goals are for the Workers' Party and how Workers' Party members, anybody who wants to run, need to conduct themselves. And he listed out 5 points in his post and speech. But we'll dive into it. But what made you want to talk about this, Terence?
I thought it's interesting because a couple of things. One is that I think now he very clearly, it seems to set a target, of 1/3. That means they believe that 1/3 of parliament should consist of opposition voices. We've known this for a while, but the thing is that in 2019, when he made a similar kind of speech as well, he actually said that was more of a medium-term target. Medium-term thinking, meaning that I don't think he meant it within the next 5 years or what, probably more like 10 years, 20 years even, So for now, for this onward to GE 2025, it seems much more that he's basically laying down the gauntlet that, let's go for 30%, right? So that's one thing that I found quite interesting. Secondly, also, when just comparing this speech that he gave this year versus that speech in 2019, there's also a much stronger stance about party versus the individual, right? About how you should conduct yourself as part of a party versus how you conduct yourself as an individual and in what you believe in. And obviously we know what has happened, what has transpired for Workers' Party in between 2019 and now, which is the big Raisa Khan hoo-ha, right? This 2025 speech feels much more sterner in that way. Sort of like, almost like what a party whip would be saying to the candidate, to his party, right? So I noted those two things were quite interesting change of tone compared to what he said in 2019. How about you? Why did this interest you?
In the sense that, I forgot about him outlining the medium-term goal of 30% in 2019. And, when I first thought, I was like, oh shit, 30%, what's the percentage now? So, right now, out of, I think, 80 plus seats, the WP has 8 seats. And there are 2 nominated members of parliament, Hazel Pua and Leong Man Wai from PSP. That's it, right? So, if you're talking about 30% out of, say, 80 plus 90 seats, that's about 30 seats, which is a huge target, to go from 8 and essentially increase by 20 seats.
Correct.
That's quite a lot. And I was thinking, but why 30%? And some people pointed out that is what can break the super majority, and where that comes into play is let's say constitutional changes lah.
Yeah.
Because for constitutions to be amended, any amendment bill has to garner at least 2/3 of the total number of MPs.
Yeah.
Excluding nominated members.
Yes, right.
Because I know sometimes you hear from the incumbent that the NMP system guarantees opposition presence in parliament.
Yeah.
But I've always found that a bit like, but as an NMP, yes, you have a seat in parliament, but you don't have the same rights as an elected MP.
Correct.
And one example would be this, to change the constitution. So that was interesting. And I mean, the same thing about placing the focus on, it was almost like a speech by Alex Ferguson of Manchester United fame, that there is no single person that is bigger than the party. And you would imagine, right, that if you are running as a politician, that should be the understanding. Like,
right.
You don't need to be explicit. But I think in this day and age of politics where individuals can become so prominent, I think it's good that he set the tone. Especially when you see what's happening in the US, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know the individual more than what they stand for. And in this case, there was a clear example, which we also saw up front when we went to the state courts.
Correct.
About the Raisa Khan drama.
Yeah. But there's also that interesting thing where, he points out that there's still a risk of a wipeout of elected opposition MPs, meaning that in this coming election, there's a possibility that there might be zero opposition candidates. What do you think of that? Because that is, there are people who say that is fear-mongering in some way, right?
Yeah.
And, opposition is going to be gone if you don't vote them in and things like that. What do you think of that statement?
I mean, it's damn hard to guess any of this, right? But just anecdotally from the little that I've seen on the ground, or just reading the news, feels like the stronghold of Aljunied would be hard to lose Aljunied, right? Not Hougang.
Aljunied, Hougang.
Yeah. Aljunied, Hougang. Right. Because I mean, even when you look at the last election, the way people were celebrating on the ground that night, it really feels like that's the home ground. But when it comes to Punggol, wait, is it Sengkang or Punggol? Sengkang. Yeah, when it comes to Sengkang, WP, when they won it in 2020, it felt like, there was a lot of momentum. But that has kind of had a big dent in it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I can see that as being a bit on the cusp. But at the same time, you have some, PAP GRCs, which if they stay the same, are under bigger threat, like Jurong, like the one in the west that Iswaran was part of.
Yeah.
So, and also Taman for Jurong. So he's not there. So it feels like, I mean, with politics now, right, I think anything is a possibility.
Yeah. And the thing is, it's still very early in the process. We don't even know the electoral boundaries yet. We don't know who the new candidates are.
Yeah.
So it's hard to immediately, say whether it's what he's saying is true, right? That there's no risk, that there's a risk of opposition wipeout and everything.
Yeah.
But at the same time, also, I think there's also a lot of things that have happened for WP in recent times, not just Raisa Khan also, that even on this podcast, we've questioned Workers' Party about the internal politics that go on, right? I think there was one of Daniel Goh, one of the ex-cadre, right? Who spoke out against... Cadre.
Like,
spoke out against the leadership, right, in certain things.
Yeah.
And then there was the instance about voting about the repeal of 377A as well.
Yeah.
And I think he lifted the whip on the party members and some voted against the repeal, right? So it made people over the years question whether the Pritam Singh's leadership of the party, the grip on all these, is everyone on the same page within the party. So it's I thought this speech was very telling that, he's sort of laying the gauntlet and just telling everyone, this is how it's going to be. This is how we're going to approach the 2025 elections. No more Lao Hong biscuit kind of bullshit. Right?
No, but Lao Hong biscuit specifically, not just the issue of the 377A, and what was the first thing you pointed out? Daniel Goh, right?
Daniel Goh,
Even that whole Raisa Khan thing.
It wasn't just her,
two other cadres, right?
Yeah.
Were kind of like, felt like there was, got lines here. Then, Loh Tia Kiang came in also. And like, it felt like, wow, like they don't seem that together.
But one other thing also that I thought was quite interesting, if you go to the website, the leader of the opposition.sg, where he posted the speech, right? Because he actually talks about how volunteers should behave in public as well, and then he includes like 3 slides from Workers' Party about expected ABCs for Workers' Party volunteers, about their appearance, your behavior, and conversation. So appearance, obviously, they mandate that everyone should wear the light blue colors of Workers' Party, and then obviously look neat and everything. Behavior, quite interesting. They say things like be nice to everyone, always smile, take the high ground in every situation. Do not make life difficult for civil servants or public officers. So I mean, it's quite telling. And then conversation is do not heckle, boo, or jeer members of other parties. And then stay calm and do not respond if provocation is followed. Pictures taken or if you're heckled. So it's almost like a direct reference to what was happening in Bukit Gombak between the PAP and the PSP members, right?
Yeah.
So I thought these 3 slides were quite interesting also.
Yeah. And I mean, the slides, you look, now in this day and age of like AI and Canva and all, slides, very easy to beautify it.
Yeah.
This one is like boring as shit slide design, but it gets the message across.
Minimalist.
Yeah, minimalist.
Yeah.
But I mean, interesting because and also like I mean, okay, so the 5 points he talked about in his speech, which he literally says like the election budget speech that will be delivered next month by the Prime Minister, my speech is also an election speech. I will make 5 points. So of course there's a note that says this is an abridged version.
Sure.
So basically point 1 about a balanced political system, which is what we have spoken about.
Yeah.
About how there needs to be more seats. Multiracialism, which means that the party stance cannot just be for one community. It needs to be across the board. Who are the WP's candidates? And then he pointed out that it doesn't make sense to reveal the new faces now.
Yeah.
They have engaged a lot and they're making calls for people to come forward. And also that they have engaged commercial parties to assist in candidate screening and personality reviews. Which, I mean, I guess there is a need to establish that, because if it's commercial means there's some payment.
So you're saying that he has to reveal that?
Otherwise, why must say it as a commercial thing?
No, in saying that it's objective. I think I'm not, as in, I don't think the thing was to tell people that I'm paying money for this, but it's to tell people that we are getting objective third parties to help us vet candidates now, which is actually something that they really probably should have done before, the last round.
Or maybe even if they did the last round, just making it known that, we are getting third parties to help us. So even if somebody fucks up,
can blame the third party.
you can blame the third party. It's like what Zuckerberg did with the third party fact checkers.
Exactly, yeah.
Right, it's their fault. They are too biased.
Yeah.
But I mean, give him the benefit of the doubt. That probably isn't his intention.
Sure.
Then the 4th point is the party first, which is what we said, party beyond the individual. And the 5th is the manpower generation. Basically about how everybody can do their part, even if you're not wanting to run. I didn't know that their regular outreach program is called Hammer Outreach. Sounds like could be a Thor party also, man.
Yeah. I mean, Workers' Party, the flag is the hammer, right?
Yes, I know, Terrence. But doesn't mean like you don't see like Singapore festivals being 5 stars and a Moon Festival, right?
True. Yeah. Okay. So you think it's too on the nose,
Alright, I thought it was interesting. It's it makes you do, Hammer Outreach.
Okay.
You want to come and hammer outreach, no?
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hammer down the message, right?
Yeah, hammer down the message. And I mean, like, I think in some way, what he's just pushing for is more representation of the opposition in Parliament, which, I mean, interesting that he laid down the law, because in the coming months we'll also see the outcome of his trial, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, still a lot of things going to be happening, man.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the thing, I'm not sure how much a speech is laying down the law, because ultimately it's words, right? I think the more important thing is to see how it translates to actions, and how they show this unity in this upcoming election.
Right? Exactly, yeah. Actions. I know. Do you remember the last election, 2020, when they had such momentum? When there was this one video they released that revealed
at the start
the file of them, and you're like, hey, wow, like
something there.
Yeah, there's something there. The way it was edited, the music,
Yeah, don't forget since then also Nicosia and Leon Pereira.
Exactly, who were in that video.
In that video.
Yeah, in that review video.
Yeah. Nicosia was in that video.
Yeah, in that video. So I mean, it feels like they were at a lot of a stronger point back then, or maybe they had that freshness about them, lah. Yeah, they had that freshness. Now it's a different ball game, lah.
Yeah,
and I mean, their reputation was tainted a lot. Even personally, like what I saw go down with the whole Raisa Khan thing, it also made me question, like certain things a bit. How could Pritam not take care of that or something like that, lah?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is like, in the conclusion, he says that the opposition movement in Parliament is still in its infancy, right? Given that they actually have 8 members of Parliament in Parliament already, which is the most that any opposition has ever had, right? Any opposition parties ever had. I also question whether we can still perceive it as infancy, right? You want to hear that they are progressing on to becoming a toddler already, or something right? Beyond just infancy. Like there's literally this is the leader of the opposition.sg page that we're looking at. So there are some of things that we feel like it should be firmer in place already, and not still talking about being an infant, right?
It's like 5 years down the road, my kid says, Papa, I'm still an infant. I'm like, hey, hello. You shut up. You can walk, you can talk, you can eat. You're not an infant. Okay?
It's true. Yeah. And you do expect there to be that they should grow in leaps and bounds in terms of the strength of the party, right? But rather than be caught up in like a lot of different internal politicking and fighting and things like that. That's what you hope for. So I think words are one thing, but action's another, right?
I mean, but just on the topic of words, the next big thing is the budget speech on February 18th by Lawrence Wong.
So, I mean, now we talk about all this, right? Do you think that a lot of people will be going on our Reddit or YouTube and calling us like stooges for establishment or anything like that? Because of what we say about, what we criticize about this speech or
but we criticize, but we also praise.
Yeah, both sides.
I mean, people always call us stooges, Yalla PAP, right?
Yalla
PAP. Yalla PAP.
Yeah. Because, I mean, at the end of the day, I'm trying to read this. I mean, it's quite interesting to read this, but we have to think about this speech in the context of what they've done in the last 5 years with the mandate that they've been given, right?
Yeah.
And then that's where we are coming from in that, certain things we're not as impressed as what the speech makes it sound like.
But at the same time, the speech is a good way to move forward. It's okay. Let's take Manchester United. Okay? Manchester United. Point. For those who have not been following football, pardon me, but Manchester United used to be a great team. Now there's still so much legacy, so much love, but they're absolute shit when it comes to the field. And it feels like, someone just needs to take the reins of it and like lay down the law. I think the current coach is trying to do it, but they just fucking lost last night again. But as with all changes, right, there needs to be something that brings people together.
Correct.
And for him to give this speech also, I think it is a plus point.
Yeah.
At least there's something there,
A good starting point.
Yeah.
I mean, in some way, I'm also hoping that, because I do look at some, I guess, what we know about how he handled the Raisa Khan thing as well. Definitely, there were certain points where I felt like he could have been more straightforward, come forward a lot stronger with his opinion on how things are, and also basically make unpleasant decisions, which would protect the party a lot more than he did, right?
Yeah.
So there are elements of maybe in some way he's learning about leading the political party and being the leader of opposition. But going forward, I do hope that he's learned those lessons and almost like carries out what he says in the speech.
So that means he's still an infant, Terrence.
That's the thing, You can't.
I mean, because you think about it, 2015 they had 4 seats, 2020 they had 8 seats.
Yeah.
Right. So already that's going from 1 year to 2 years.
Yeah.
Right. Then now it's the terrible twos.
Yeah,
right.
Terrible twos.
Terrible twos. And then now he's going to move on to 3 years.
Yeah. But that's not infancy already, Once you 2+, that's toddler already,
Okay, then maybe 0 to 1, then to 2 lah.
Yeah.
So this is the terrible twos.
Yeah, so this is toddler years already.
Toddler years. But yeah, man. Interesting to see what else comes.
Correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, just speaking about, public image and communications and all that. There was a particular airline that was recently trying to show that they are celebrating a very big milestone event for the company. And this is a national carrier, right? But they ended up making a lot of people upset internationally, not just within their own country. And which airline is this?
It is the Pakistan International Airlines.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what they were celebrating was their first flight to Paris after a safety ban was lifted.
Yeah.
And basically, the visual they went to public with was, a backdrop of the French flag, the Eiffel Tower on the right.
Yeah.
On the left, it says Paris, comma. On the next line, we are coming today. And in between the word Paris and the Eiffel Tower was a plane flying in the direction of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
So hopefully when even hearing me describe the visual, you might be already thinking, wait. Was the plane going in the direction of the Eiffel Tower? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Towards the middle of the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And the caption is, and I repeat, Paris, we're coming today.
Yeah.
So when you look at it, you're like, okay. It almost looks like a meme,
Yeah.
When there's an ad and then people just like doctor it a bit and screenshot, take out something, remove and put it there. No, this is the actual ad. Resuming flights between Islamabad and Paris from January 10th, 2025. So that went viral online because it brought to mind the very harrowing images of the plane flying into the World Trade Center.
Yeah.
So at first, when I think a friend shared it, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's just a meme, maybe it's just a small thing. But no, even like some Pakistani leaders came out and said publicly that this was so stupid, and now there's an investigation going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's what happened.
An investigation by the... I think they called for inquiry, right? The finance minister, yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, the reason why the Pakistan International Airlines was banned in June 2020 from flying to the European Union, UK and the US was because one of its Airbus A320s plunged into a Karachi street, killing nearly 100 people.
Oh, damn.
So there was apparently human error and error by the air traffic control and pilots that nearly a third of its licenses for its pilots were fake or dubious. Before that, 2016, a PIA plane burst into flames after one of its engines failed during a flight to Islamabad, killing more than 40 people.
Yeah.
So it was only in November last year that the EU Aviation Safety Agency announced it lifted the ban.
Yeah.
But apparently it's still barred from flying to the UK and the US. So then it goes to announce the fucking ban being lifted with this photo. Maybe it was someone internally who wanted to just have some fun. I don't know. But it just felt like... But okay, so on the flip side, there's some people saying this is just an ad. It's just an unfortunate ad.
Correct.
Can you... What do you think of that? Because the ad is still on their X account.
It is.
It's still...
Yeah, and the Pakistan International Airlines spokesperson said to the Associated Press that he was surprised over the criticism, and they apologized to those who feel the advertisement hurt them. So basically a non-apology. We want to make it clear that we have no intention to hurt the feelings of anyone, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, what do you think, man?
I mean, I do think you look at it because they actually, if you go to their official account, they actually have a lot of other visuals. They have another visual for resuming flights to Paris from Islamabad, and there's a very nice picture of the Eiffel Tower with the S in the Paris, winding around it with like trees in the foreground, the city in the background.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so nice. And then another one for Diwali, and then Beijing to Islamabad, and it's all nice. And it's just this one photo, this one visual where I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is it a case of like, because the heightened sensitivity towards air incidents, considering just a few weeks ago there was that crash in South Korea, right?
Yeah.
Plus, obviously, even SQ had the whole turbulence incident and everything. So even though 9/11 was, many, many years ago, like, okay, less about 24 years ago, right? It's just something that is very sore on people's, it's still on people's minds right now, right? Air safety and all.
But I think it's probably nothing to do with the recent crash, I think it's just the visual of this.
Of something flying to a tower.
Yeah, because everybody has seen those screen grabs, right? Of those videos at the moment when the plane goes in. I think this one, you're like, wow, it's hard to believe that this was totally like the design just went through like that. Because if you look at every other ad, it's all quite tasteful, no?
Yeah.
So this one, I don't know, man. Maybe it was someone just on the last day of work who was like not happy, he's like, I'm just going to post this shit. Yeah. But the thing is, they haven't taken it down.
Yeah. That's why I said it's a non-apology, like what they said about sorry for if you felt offended by it, But I mean, do you think the argument that it's not actually flying into the Eiffel Tower, it's actually flying behind, do you think that would make you feel any better?
Nah, I don't think so, man. I don't think so.
It's hard to I try to think about what's the but for this. Is there anything that could justify why people are overreacting to this?
Hard, right?
Looking at it at all the different angles, it's tough, because they didn't need to put the plane there. In fact, they have other ads on their website where there is a plane, there are structures in the same photo, but they put the plane above the words, pointing up,
Yeah.
Which is what you would imagine. The plane doesn't fly at the level of the Eiffel Tower either, right?
Yeah.
So there's almost nothing. It's not meant to. This is not meant to look realistic or anything. You see.
Yeah.
But somehow they just had to put a plane facing the Eiffel Tower like that, lah.
Yeah. And I mean, there's another image on their Facebook, for their flight to Bahrain, from Bahrain to Sialkot.
Yeah.
Which I'm not so sure where that is, but there's a plane next to a structure, but it's almost like a plane icon, a graphic, it's not an actual plane.
Yeah.
But, looking at their Facebook page, they still have that, Paris, we are coming tomorrow. But then on January 11th, they have another visual in the same style, Paris, we have arrived. So maybe they were like, hey, fuck, this is the first of a set of two,
that
have matching visuals. We cannot take down the first one if we haven't posted the second one.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's not hard to, even if you try and give it some benefit of the doubt, right? It's hard, man.
Yeah, it's hard, especially when you know that these things are usually vetted by at least a certain number of people, and you would imagine of quite senior rank also, right?
Yeah.
That they don't see an issue with this is quite concerning also.
So, okay, my guess is that if I had to wage a bet or something, I think someone inside or some people inside thought it was a cheeky thing and they just went ahead with it.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard to forgive.
Yeah, I just look at it. There's just so many other places they could have placed the plane and it would have felt much less offensive, or even turn it in the other direction, right? You know? But I guess they wanted it to look like it was going towards Paris directly.
Yeah, exactly.
But not into the Eiffel Tower, please.
But I just noticed also that their website, even though it's Pakistan International Airlines, it is piac.com.pk. So it's piak.com.pk.
Yeah.
Piak.com.pk.
That's a very Singapore
very Singapore
joke.
Yeah, very Singapore. But yeah, man.
So these are the people who need to hire third party what do you call it? People to help them scan through the advertisements, right?
Yeah.
Third party organizations that can help them with media strategy.
Yeah. And maybe they're taking a page from Mark Zuckerberg's Let's Screw the Diversity book, because when you look at their team, right, it's just a bunch of Indian uncles. It's all of them, dude. Their senior team.
Maybe.
It's like the invite list for an Indian wedding like that. Holy shit. Yeah.
I mean, would you expect any different, say, of the Singapore Airlines?
I think so.
You think so?
I think so.
More varied in...
I mean, still, okay, at least when I was there was still more skewed towards older men. But there were some women, wait, let me see. Let me see. Suddenly all the airlines, the team is just uncles.
Yeah.
Let me see.
What are possibilities?
Yeah. But yeah. Yeah, man.
But yeah, media consultants, maybe that's what people need.
Media consultants, correct.
But yeah, that's it. Are you still looking at your searching for your thing?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is your one Shiok comment of this past week, or this past weekend? So
you have yours?
Yeah, I do. Let me just quickly pull that up. Basically, if you look at the recent feedback for some of our podcasts, right? I think one of the podcasts recently we talked about this particular festival in India, right?
Yeah.
That was supposed to be the largest congregation of people in the world. We've mentioned it on episode 611, once every 12 years. And then you said it's 400,000 attendees, right?
Yeah.
Apparently, it's actually 400 million.
Yeah.
And that was found out by one of our longtime listeners, Jungle Jimbo, on our subreddit. And so, yeah, it's the Maha Kumbh Mela festival in India. Is expected to have over 400 million attendees in the span of 6 weeks, more than the population of the US and Canada. So yeah, it's pretty interesting. Like, I think Jungle Jimbo manages to pull up a lot of articles and links about the whole festival if you're interested. So thanks for the POFMA and the correction notice. I think we will. Did we have a link of it in the last podcast or something? No, right?
I don't think so.
Yeah, but maybe we should. Okay, actually, this one would direct people to know what the correct festival is. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, it's insane. I think they estimated on that one day, 5 million people went into the Ganges River.
Wow, 5 million.
Yeah, 5 million. 5 million people.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, so my one Shiok comment. So, like, so someone I think posted on the episode 611, the survey drops and PAP flag reaches Everest. So someone commented, I like how Terence pushed or gently coaxed Harish to share about his reflection of his narcissist episode. Harish's sharing gave more weight to why he viewed the Singapore climber in a certain light. Yes, the personal experience was very impactful in my understanding of the incident. Please continue to push/coax Harish, Terence. The gentle coaxing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Terence, for coaxing me.
So yeah, I mean, it's good. I thought I gave you your props for that. It's about your self-awareness.
Yeah lah, correct lah. Curious dash NY. You know how much self-reflection I had to do or not?
There wasn't actually much coaxing on my end. All I had to do is I just mentioned it and then you already.
I coaxed myself.
We did not even prepare that before podcast. Right?
Yeah, I self-coaxed. Yeah. So, but I mean, yeah lah, we can continue to always coax ourselves and coax each other when the time is requires it lah.
The important thing is to be able to acknowledge when you're wrong and announce a decision and tell everyone that I stand corrected.
I mean, it's really right and wrong, Terence. It's just differences of opinion.
Yeah.
Right, and I quote you for saying that. So that was my one Shiok comment lah.
Nice.
What about your one Shiok thing, man?
My one Shiok thing is a particular YouTube video about why are Leica cameras so expensive. So it's by this guy from a channel who runs a channel called Speed, SPEED. I believe he was part of a larger channel before, but he left recently and he's starting to do more videos himself. And he just made a video. He's been making, since about 6 months ago, he's been making a handful of interesting videos where he goes into the history of certain particular things like the Porsche GT3 RS, the brand Stussy, how Nike skateboarding became big. And this one is he talks about why Leica cameras are so much more expensive than everything else. So it's usually about 20 minutes long, each of these videos, but quite interesting, deep dives into the history of some of these brands and all that also talk a little bit about pop culture.
So what's the TLDR about why it's so expensive?
There's hype. There's a lot of hype involved. So a lot of, even Brad Pitt and a lot of celebrities are seen using the camera. And I mean, it's just in general, there's a strange mix of hype, actual, proper functionality, and just good design of the cameras. So he goes into the history of the brand and why there are things about it that are very unique compared to other brands.
So as a camera snob yourself, like, do you think the Leica is overhyped?
Depends on what you want to use it for. Because, I mean, don't even say Leica. Like, sometimes I carry around my Sony camera and take pictures and all that, and I get a question like, what's so great about your camera compared to just using my phone? And I will argue sometimes that even using a phone is a better piece of camera gear if you want to capture quick snaps and moments and not miss moments, right? But over the years, what I realized it's, photography is not about capturing people or things. It's about capturing an emotion, right? So if you're trying to capture emotion, composition, lighting, all these things factor in a lot more. And that emotion also is in how you take the photo, when you actually have to handle a piece of gear quite well and all that. So that's where I'm like, I think it's actually something quite, the tactile feel of the camera is actually more interesting and more puts you in the zone and in the mood of capturing emotions much more.
But puts you but to your family, they're like, Terrence, can you just take the photo now? Why you have to set up and tell me to move because the light is better?
But the beauty of it is every time that happens, then when they see the photo like a month or two later after the trip, then they're like, oh, wow, thank goodness you used the camera. Thank goodness you brought that tripod. Thank goodness you took the extra 3 minutes to set it up because it came out so amazing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, compared to what you take on the phone and everything. Like there's something, after a while you start to see, there's something soul-sucking about like taking photos with your iPhone and all. They're very clear, they're very beautiful, but there's just something that the emotion is not there.
So it's for 2 months you have to tahan . Basically, you tahan and
until they see the photo or the video that you took or something. Then they're like, oh, so that's why you were
But
so
on the spot, you never show them to just,
But the cameras are not made to like really show you.
Also, you have to go back and color correct.
No, not even color correct, but even just put it on a bigger screen, show that when you look at it on a big screen versus you look at iPhone photo on a big screen, there's a difference. And that tactile experience of it.
But tactile is only you.
Correct.
Your family doesn't come and touch the camera.
That's true. But even that act of like, okay, everybody get together, 1, 2, 3 kind of thing, it adds something to the whole thing. Rather than iPhone, which just, you go to a concert, everyone's filming on the iPhone and no one's enjoying the moment and all that, right? That's why I feel
would you say it's similar to like, you can order a nice pasta dish from somewhere. Correct. If you make it yourself, there's something like special there.
Yeah, correct. I believe so.
I've come to realize that. But photo taking, I think it's probably a mix because sometimes if you want to take a photo, just a quick one, your phone makes sense, like what you said, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, maybe.
And you look at Gen Zs now; they're all buying all those old point and shoot cameras that we used to have in the 2000s, 2010s. They're coming back in popularity because they want that experience of like, okay, this device is just to take pictures, not to like make calls, go on Snapchat or go on TikTok and all these things. They want that to be. Like, it's almost like the phone is like the functional device, but the one that has emotion is the camera. Yeah. I was also very puzzled when I started seeing young people carrying those point and shoots. I was like...
I mean, part of it is also, to be like, hey, let's just be cool, be cool. Go against the grain.
Correct, a little bit. But I do get the sense, and that's why I don't even scoff at like Leica cameras as much now. Because if you enjoy it, like, more power to you. It's just that you have to be able to afford it, obviously. Yeah.
Cool. My one Shiok thing was a picture that I saw on the Singapore Reddit when doing research that, I've left the tab open because it's just something so captivating about it. It's a picture of the Tian Hock Keng Temple in the 19th century. Tian Hock Keng Temple is along Telok Ayer Street.
Yeah.
There's one old temple. Yeah. And you look at this picture, it's like, holy shit, that used to be Telok Ayer Street.
Yeah. When are you suddenly researching this?
No, on the Singapore Reddit thread.
Oh, okay.
So for like our general episode research, I came across someone posted it 5 days ago. And I mean, then I was just like, the temple itself, I think was built in the early 19th century by Chinese immigrants from Fujian. It was rebuilt and expanded in 1839 and completed in 1842.
Yeah.
But if you look at the picture, right, it's just, there's like a bullock cart in front and then a horse carriage behind. And you just look at it, you're like, wow, there's something very... It just puts you into the, like, just imagining like, oh shit, that is insane.
Yeah, considering what it is today as well.
Considering what it is today. And of course, in the comments, some people are quite cheeky. They say the first bullock cart is a Lamborghini because it's a bull. Then the second one is a Ferrari because it's a horse. But that picture is just, it's very hypnotizing. Yeah, I just thought. Then, I mean, like Roots.sg has an article on it to read up about it. It's one of the oldest Hokkien temples in Singapore.
Wow.
But yeah, interesting lah.
Interesting.
And it was erected, I think, by the Fujian natives who were grateful that they managed to go across the South China Sea safely. So they wanted to honor the goddess of the sea, or Tian Ho.
Wow.
Tian Ho, right?
I don't know. I'm not
Tian
sure.
Ho. Tian Ho. So that's my one Shiok thing, man.
Wow. Chinese culture is your
Chinese culture,
thing,
man. Yeah. Not like you lah, the material, modern toys.
Hey, I went to China to go and find my Chinese roots also.
That's true.
With those toys, to capture the emotion.
Old and the new, the old and the new.
You are raving about a photo. I'm talking about the equipment needed to take photos like that. And then you're like, you. The irony.
Okay, cool. Yeah. But that's all for today, man. And remember, if you are new to the podcast, or if you've been enjoying us for a while, but you haven't told someone about us, please do. Follow us on social media, so Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify. Leave us a rating. And if you want to work with us,
check out ministryoffunny.com or email us at contact@ministryoffunny.com.
Sweet. Thanks for listening, everybody.